Today, we're going to talk about a single idea that completely, and I mean completely, reshaped what it means to be human. It's an invention that literally changed the ground beneath our feet and built the world we live in today. So, let's get right into it.
All right, let me start by asking you a question. If you had to name the single most important invention in all of human history, what would you say? The printing press? Maybe the internet? The wheel, right? That's got to be it.
Well, the real answer, the one that changed everything, is way, way simpler. It wasn't some complex machine. It was a tiny, humble seed. The realization that you could plant something, care for it, and then harvest it, that simple act sparked a revolution that would totally remake our entire planet.
And that's really our starting point here, this massive, world-changing event. It wasn't about conquering new lands or building new tech, at least not at first. It was a revolution that was all about one thing: food.
This whole thing has a name, of course. Historians call it the Neolithic Revolution. And here's what that means. For hundreds of thousands of years, we were nomads. We were constantly on the move, hunting animals and gathering plants to survive. This revolution is that fundamental shift away from that to settled agriculture, to staying in one place, growing our own food, and raising our own animals.
And this didn't happen last week. We are talking about something that kicked off around 12,000 years ago, right around the time the last ice age was finally ending. It was a really slow, gradual process. People figuring out how to tame wild wheat, how to domesticate goats. You could say this was humanity's first, and maybe biggest, bet on its own future.
So, what was the first major domino to fall because of this new way of life? It was the decision to just stop wandering the earth, and for the very first time, to put down roots. I mean, just look at the contrast here. It's night and day. Life as a hunter-gatherer was nomadic, right? You moved around in small groups, and resources were pretty much shared by everyone. But farming demanded a sedentary life. You had to stay put. And that introduced this totally radical new concept of private property. This is my land, these are my crops. And it allowed for much, much larger communities to form. The change was absolutely seismic.
Now, to really wrap your head around the scale of this, think about this number. Before agriculture, the best guess is that the entire human population of the planet was somewhere between 5 and 10 million people. That's less than the population of New York City today, spread across the entire globe.
Now compare that to today. We're sitting at over 8 billion people. That population explosion is a direct consequence of the stable, predictable food supply that the Neolithic Revolution created. It didn't just support more people, it's the very reason this incredible growth was even possible.
But having a food surplus did way more than just feed more mouths. It created a completely new kind of human society. It basically led to an explosion of everything else.
It's a pretty simple chain of events, but with these massive, profound effects. So, step 1, farming gets more efficient, and you create a surplus of food. Which leads to step 2, for the first time ever, not every single person has to spend their entire day just looking for something to eat. And that frees people up to do other things, which leads to step 3, new roles, new skills, things that just couldn't exist before.
This is it. This is the moment the concept of a job was basically born. You could be a potter, or a builder, or a priest. But this specialization, well, it very quickly created new social dynamics. Some jobs became more valued than others, and the people who controlled the land and the food, they gained power. This was the dawn of social hierarchy.
You can almost think of it as humanity's first great bargain. On one side of the deal, we gained incredible stability and food security. But on the other side, we introduced these brand new concepts like deep-seated inequality and private property, issues that, let's be honest, we are very much still dealing with today.
And you know what's really fascinating is that this wasn't just a one-time thing that happened in one place. This whole revolution sparked up independently all across the globe. In Mesopotamia, they figured out wheat. Over in China, it was rice. Down in Mesoamerica, it was corn and beans. It's like once the conditions were right, humans everywhere arrived at the same groundbreaking conclusion.
So, let's bring all of this into the here and now. How does this thing that happened 12,000 years ago actually shape the world you and I are living in right now? Because this is the world we all inherited.
Think about it. When you have thousands of people living together in one place with private land and stored food, you suddenly have a whole new set of problems. How do you manage the water supply? Who gets to decide who's right in a dispute over land? And how do you defend all this stored food from outsiders who might want it?
Answering these questions created the need for rules, for leaders, for organization, the very seeds of government.
And this, right here, is the ultimate legacy. Permanent cities and nations, specialized jobs, social classes, governments, every single one of these things we consider a fundamental pillar of civilization is a direct descendant of that ancient decision to plant a seed in the ground. It even changed the planet's environment and our own bodies. The world as we know it is built on a blueprint that was drawn up during the Neolithic Revolution.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. There's absolutely no doubt that agriculture gave us civilization as we know it. Art, science, cities, all of it. But it's worth asking, in that great bargain we made all those thousands of years ago, what, if anything, did we lose? What parts of that older nomadic way of life did we leave behind for good? It's a question that reminds us that every single step forward in human history always comes with a trade-off. Thanks for watching.